Tom Clark's Main Event is a Boink Studios production. And now, on with the show.
This is Daddy's show. Step off.
Hey, what is up? Welcome back to the program, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tom Clark, and this is Tom Clark's Main Event. What's up? Happy Friday to you one and all. What's going on? This is episode number 199. That's right, kids. We are 1 week away from the big 200. As you guys can probably tell, I've got a new rig. There it is. A new microphone rig. It's the first time I've actually updated since I started the show back in 2014. The arm that I had, microphone stand, if you will, was actually on the flimsy side, but I put up with it for 6 years because I was too lazy to buy another one. So guess what? I upgraded, kids, and it's all good because now this sucker is a lot easier to deal with. And I'm also going to be working on the sound aspect of this show, so hopefully it's going to sound a lot better when everything is done. Remember that next week, you are going to see some brand new graphics here. You're going to hear some different music, and should be good, should be cool. I'm looking forward to it. I like to change things up every once in a while. This will be the first time that I've ever really changed things up on the show. Basically, what you've seen, that you've been seeing on the show is basically what I've been doing since day one, with a couple of little minor exceptions here and there. So next week, yes, changing it up. I've been doing a lot of work in Photoshop, and if you've done anything in Photoshop before, you know that it's fun, but man, is it complicated, or it sure can be. So yes, school yourself, folks, because once you get the hang of it, it's pretty darn fun. And it's pretty cool, actually. So we'll look at that next week, and you guys can tell me what you think. I'll get your input, as I always do, get your feedback. I got a random hair happening. There it is. At my age, I'm just glad to have hair. For those of you listening just to the audio version of this show, man, are you missing out. You can catch this show live most every Friday right here on Wrestling Rumors Facebook Live. And you get to hang out with all the cool kids, which is exactly what we're doing right now. So let's go ahead and get some hellos out of the way. Who was the first one on board? Sandy in Germany. What's up, my friend? Jeff, what's going on? Christopher, hey to you as well. Belinda, what's happening? Shane, what's going on, brother? Mark, hello. Shannon, my bad. I was about to call you Shane again. There you go. How are you? Christopher, welcome. Brad, Minnesota, go Vikes. Straight to the bottom, I guess. Brad says it's snowing outside. Brad, you can keep your snow. I want nothing to do with it. Carlos says hello. Hello to Carlos. Let's see. Bobby, what's going on? Oklahoma. Bobby and Okie, what's going on, man? So, Tim, hello in Indiana, Tim. Thanks for hanging out again, man. Timothy, what's good with you, man? Good to see you, bro. Glad you are here. Rebecca, what's going on? Ray, the biggest Adam Cole fan in the history of forever. Jamel, what's up in Vegas? How you doing? Christopher Sims, what's going on, man? Hope you're doing good. Shane says, upgrade equipment, gain Impact Wrestling back. Only seen New Japan on YouTube. Got to keep Pops happy, more Westerns. Oh, I hear you. Got what you got to do. Jeff's going to watch me on TV. There's nothing like Tom in high def. Actually, I have a face made for radio. That's what I always say. So, yeah, man, it's all good. Listen, I appreciate you watching. What's up, Victor? What's going on? Mark says it's raining in Indiana. Mark, you can keep your rain. It's overcast here in North Carolina. We'll see what happens today. What's up, Isaiah? Thanks for hanging out, man, as always. So, big show this week. As we said before, episode 199, 1 week away from the big 200. It's a pretty cool thing, man, to say that I'm vastly approaching 1 week away, 7 days away from episode 200. Pretty cool. Again, I've said multiple times in the past, I'm not as far along as some of my peers are in the podcasting game. However, it is an accomplishment for me. It's very cool. And yeah, I'm glad you guys are going to be along for the ride. So please, everyone, tune in next week, and hopefully you'll enjoy the show. I love bringing the show to you. It's one of the coolest parts of my week, if I'm being honest. Diane across the pond in the UK. What's up? Diane, are we friends on the Facebook? Please send me a friend request. I'm a sucker for international fans. Everyone here can tell you that. Every time someone from another country pops up, Tom's all giddy like a schoolgirl. I'm not even making that up. Ask them, they'll tell you. Ask them right now, they'll tell you. So, it is a big week this week. Tons to talk about. Let's go ahead and dive into the latest news of the week. For those of you who have been following the New Japan G1 Climax 30 tournament, you know that Kota Ibushi has won the G1 Climax 30. Now, what does that mean for all of us? Well, here's the deal, kids. Kota Ibushi versus Tetsuya Naito is nothing short of a train wreck every single time they touch. Not because it's a bad match, but because I'm convinced they're trying to kill themselves in order to put on a good show. That's nothing I take lightly. It's nothing to sneeze at, in other words, because we want these guys and gals to be safe. We all do, right? Kota is tough as shoe leather, and so is Naito. But Naito's body, much like Tanahashi, his body is, been in better shape through the years. Kota looks to be in phenomenal shape. We don't know where these guys are mentally. Hard to know that, language barrier and everything. And plus, not much is written from their perspective, if I'm being honest, unless you're in Japan, I suppose. But the prospects of Kota Ibushi versus Naito at Wrestle Kingdom 15 next year on January 4th or 5th is frightening because, again, we've seen what these guys can do, not necessarily to each other, but allow one guy to do with the other. There it is, during the course of a match. So we'll see how it goes. Oscar, thanks. Oscar, have you watched before? I don't know if you watched before. Thanks for watching, man. Rob says, "Hey, Tom, love hearing your Cameron Grimes every week and all things wrestling." Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Shane, you're very kind, my friend. Thank you for that. So, any thoughts on Kota Ibushi winning the G1 Climax 30? I don't know what's going on. Glad you're hanging out. Glad to see you. It was a heck of a tournament. A lot of matches stood out. I thought Tomohiro Ishii had the best tournament that he's ever had. I still, to this day, don't understand why they don't put the IWGP Championship on him. Maybe Shane can enlighten us on that, why he thinks that he's never been given the title. I don't think Ishii needs it, but at the same time, the guy is just tremendous. He always has great matches. Chad, you're going to make an enemy if you keep calling me Tommy, brother. The name is Tom. Get it straight. Someone did that to me yesterday, and I said, dude, I stopped being Tom in 9th grade. So there you go. I'm going to start screwing your name up, Chad. You call me Tommy again. How about that? Brad says he was actually surprised. Surprised that Kota won? Honestly, yeah. I in the midst of it, I was like, they've got to let Ishii win this thing. You know what I mean? But then I was kind of on Sonata's side, but I was also a Shingo Takagi fan as well. That guy is tremendous. So I think they could have went either way in this thing. But listen, here's the deal when it comes to Kota Ibushi in New Japan. They're committed to this cat. You better believe that. I mean, he could have signed with anybody at that point in time. Was it last year, the year before? He could have signed with anyone, and he would have gotten any price he had wanted, I would suspect. But he wanted to sign with New Japan full time. They were just using him like on a part-time basis. I think it was a pay-as-you-go kind of thing, paid by appearance, I believe. Don't quote me on that. But so when he decided to actually sign a full-time contract with them and they got their hands on him, it's like, okay, we're going to do right by him, which is, I'm sure, was part of the deal. It's like, hey, we're going to utilize you. We're going to put you up there. So it's all good. The guy is tremendous. So there you go. Elvis, so sorry for your loss, my friend. All the best to you and your family. Brad says, I was hoping Sonata was going to win. I'm with you there. I was kind of had my fingers crossed for him as well. But I'm good with Kota winning. As I said before, folks, I just want him to be safe. I want Naito to be safe. I want everyone stepping into the ring to be able to step out of the ring of their own accord, okay? On their own 2 feet, not being carried out or concussions or broken neck or broken anything for that matter. So, yeah, man, we'll see how it goes. Honestly, the G1, like I said, it was a great tournament. And when you think about it, Wrestle Kingdom 15, it's not all that far away. So January 4th and 5th, right? It's always on January 4th, right? So we'll see how it goes. I mean, part of me says 2020 couldn't be over fast enough, and I'm sure everybody agrees with that. But the other part of me also says that 2020 went by crazy, crazy fast. So I don't know, dude. I'm sort of torn. It's one of those odd years. I mean, I think we'll all agree that once 2020 is over, we'll all be much happier, right? It's been a bad thing for all of us, for sure. All right, folks, let's talk about Wrestle Kingdom 15 for a little bit. As we said before, it was announced on the final night, I believe, of the G1. Wrestle Kingdom will be on January 4th and 5th, another 2-day event. I'm already looking forward to it. We're not even into November yet. I was going to say December, but I'm already looking forward to Wrestle Kingdom. I dig that show. I always enjoy it. And it'll be interesting to see what happens. Is Moxley going to be able to be there? I don't know. It's all up in there right now, the stuff between them and AEW. We talked about that here on the show before. We've covered it a couple of different times, actually more than a couple. So we'll see how it goes. I'm very much looking forward to seeing who's going to be on the match cards for those 2 days. So we'll see. Linda says, good morning, my friend. Finally cool. What's up, Linda? Thank you for hanging out. It's cooling down here too, actually. So, yeah. But yeah, man, when it comes to Wrestle Kingdom, it's their biggest event. It is their WrestleMania. Every pro wrestling company has something they say, well, this is our WrestleMania. Do you know what I mean? So that's where New Japan is. And this thing, 15 years strong next year. So, like I said, I'm interested. I don't know what's going to happen. I hope Moxley's there. I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, Naito could presumably maybe lose the title before Wrestle Kingdom even gets here. That would be interesting. You know what I mean? What if he were to lose it? What if Kota? All right. So here's the deal. At one of the New Japan events coming up, Kota Ibushi's putting his briefcase on the line against Jay White. I mean, they could do something there. They could do whatever they want to. Here's the thing I'll tell you right now, and I've told you this before on the show. When it comes to Gato's booking at New Japan, I would give that guy the benefit of the doubt every day of the week and twice on Sunday, because he has very rarely ever let me down, not really as a writer or whatever, but as a pro wrestling fan, he's very rarely ever let me down. New Japan starts something, they finish it. New Japan introduces a character, they see it through. It's very, very rare that you'll see a character on New Japan programming suddenly pulled off TV or removed or screw down to the bottom of the card. I mean, occasionally there'll be somebody kind of falls through the cracks, but off the top of my head, I can't think of anyone that they've just sort of abandoned and said, well, this guy's not cutting it. It's not working out. I don't know, man. Hello, Jeff. What's going on? Thomas, welcome to the show. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. Let's go ahead and get into some WWE news. I know we got a lot of WWE fans that watch and listen to the show, so let's go ahead and cover some of the headlines this week. The Fiend versus Retribution, or as I like to call it, well, we gave up on that pretty quick. This whole Retribution thing, you guys know how I feel. This whole thing's been a joke from day one. That's my opinion. You can take that or you can leave it. Completely fine with me, whatever you want to do. I totally get it. As I said, a lot of WWE fans watching and listening, so it's perfectly fine. Whatever your bag is, man, I suppose you can get into it and you can support it all day long. Totally fine with me. But the Retribution thing, in my humble opinion, has been nothing but 2 words, kids: hot garbage. There it is. I just don't buy it. Mustafa Ali is great. He's been great for a very long time. I hope that if nothing else, this will elevate him in the eyes of the company, in the eyes of Vince McMahon. Let's put it the way it is, the way it should be. But I don't know that to be true. This could just be a random spot for him. And I still don't believe to this day that it was supposed to have been him to lead this group. And he admitted on Monday that he was actually the tech guy on SmackDown behind the screens and stuff. Okay. So there again, folks, I think this is another prime example of WWE does something, throws it on TV, and they don't have an end game yet. They're like, we'll just figure it out as we go. We'll just try to place someone there later on. We'll worry about it later, which is I kind of feel like where they're going with that. So let's see. Is Shane talking about John Cena leading the NWO? No. Bite your tongue clean out of your head, Shane. It's over. John's moved on, Shane. John's moved on, man. You know what I mean? I wouldn't care about that now. Timothy says Raw was boring. It was tough to watch. I'm not gonna lie. Sandy is a Retribution fan. Sandy, well, brother, you're on an island, my friend. So Ray says the Fiend going face. It sure looks that way. I mean, he's taking on Retribution. He and his muse, his Harley Quinn, Alexa Bliss, right? Listen, WWE is in a very, very odd spot right now with all the COVID stuff, the pandemic, no crowds and stuff. They've been experimenting with the heel and face dynamic. They got heels bum rushing heels. The Hurt Business is facing Retribution now. Bray Wyatt attacks him. I mean, where are we going with this? Honest to God, what is the deal here? So, I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Let's see. Armando says their names are stupid and Vince needs to stop with the stupid. Brother, from your lips to the ears of God, my friend. So yeah, I agree with that totally. Shannon. I keep wanting to call you Shane. I'm sorry. Ali deserves better than Retribution. Yeah, I agree with that. We'll see what happens though. Shane says he heard this morning they're bringing the NWO back. Well, take it with a grain of salt, brother. If you heard it on, if you got it from a dirt sheet, take it with a grain of salt because you don't know. And there's, by the way, it depends on what dirt sheet you're talking about too. There's some out there that are dirt sheets, which are garbage. Trust me when I tell you that. I've written for a couple of them before. Let's see. Ray says, why does AJ Styles have a bodyguard? He's not HBK. It's terrible. Yeah. I mean, the dude's a behemoth, right? And they had the whole Matt Riddle thing where he's like scared of him. That's a good look for one of your future top baby faces, right? It's crazy. Isaiah says, I heard that Randy's supposed to co-lead Retribution. Well, if they're going to make that happen, Isaiah, they're sure waiting long enough. I think that was one of the rumors for a long time because people were just kind of throwing names in a hat randomly and just trying to pick names that make sense. And Orton's name was one of the names that they were picking. So I don't know. I just don't know how many more people they need. I think it looks ridiculous. To me, it's not over. Had they handled this thing a little bit differently, why are they wearing masks? What is the point of that? Why do they have nicknames? T-Bar, Slapjack, Slapstick, T-Pain, Slapstick, Crowbar, Car Bumper, Jeep Wrangler. I don't know. We're just going to go with like automotive nicknames at this point. Chrysler Le Mans. Is that Pontiac Le Mans? I don't know. I'm just making stuff up now. The rumor, Armando, yes, is that Eva Marie is re-signed with WWE. So more stuff to add to the pile of hot garbage that company has been cultivating for years. What's up, Brenda? Welcome back to the show. Shane, we're going to get to Elias in my favorite segment and yours. Trust me when I tell you that. Timothy, what's going on? Welcome to the show, brother. Yeah, John's to Mark's point, John's moved on. John's doing the Hollywood thing now. He's very good. John's very talented. He's a great guy, great personality. He can act. I mean, I think he's going to be great, honestly. So we'll see what happens. I like to reserve judgment on these things. I mean, here's something that we've all learned, and you didn't need Vince McMahon to tell you this. You never say never in the pro wrestling business, man. Just when you think you got something figured out, they throw you a left. They throw you a curveball. Do you know what I mean? Oh, Dipstick. That's good. Yeah, we'll just name after random car parts. So, Crowbar, Dipstick. Help me out here. What's another good one? I'm not a car guy, can you tell? Spark plug. It's good stuff. It's good stuff, man. What's up, Jeffrey and Callie? What's going on? Sandy, no CM Punk news, except to say that, Sandy, if you would like, my friend, to check out another podcast by yours truly, check out Tom Clark's 6M podcast. Episode 10, which dropped this past Tuesday, is the CM Punk episode. Me and Phil Lindsay talk about CM Punk, the voice of the voiceless, the Second City Saint, the pipe bomb promo, everything in between. Punk's entire WWE career we cover. It's kind of an in-depth look into the guy, into his career, into why he left and what he's doing now, and if he'll ever come back. So if you want some more thoughts by yours truly, Sandy, I encourage you, go subscribe to Tom Clark's 6M podcast. It's free, just like the main event is free. It's available just like the main event is on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and the YouTube. There's your answer, Sandy. And to everyone listening and watching, Tom Clark's 6M podcast. And by the way, as soon as this show goes off the air today, head on over to my Facebook page because I don't promote it here on Wrestling Rumors. I mean, like via video, right? head on over to my Facebook page, and I'm going to do the episode 11 reveal. And dude, it's a fun one. Trust me when I tell you that. You're going to dig it. You're going to dig it. Robbie says, I recently saw a video where a guy was interviewing Kevin Nash, and he was asked about how he felt wrestling was doing. Kevin pretty much ripped WWE to shreds and dropped many F-bombs talking about the company that gave him his start. Well, to be fair, Robbie, WWE didn't give him his start. WCW did, if we're being fair. Calling it through black and white right down the middle. But I see where you're coming from. But here's the thing, Robbie. Nash worked for more than just WWE. He worked for WCW twice. He worked for TNA. I mean, he's done other stuff. I totally get your point, but there's this backlash against people who used to work for that company who have an opinion. Moxley's been ripped more than one time. Why is he still talking about it? He spent a lot of time there. I mean, does it deserve a rant, a shoot on YouTube with a freaking profanity laced tirade? I don't know. But here's the thing, man. I didn't work there. Maybe I wouldn't feel the same way. Elvis is bringing it. Gas pedal. That's great. That's a great one. Hood and trunk. That's a bit clunky, but gas pedal is a good one. Driveline U-joint. No one would know what that means, but that's great. Elvis, did you ask me this last week? Should Naomi join the Hurt Business? I said yes. Whoever asked me, I said yes. I love Walter, Christopher, and yes, I'm going to pronounce it that way. I've not caught up on WWE NXT UK. I need to, so my apologies for not being with you on this, but I intend on catching up. Let's see. Hello, Jane. My God, Jane. Thank you so much for asking. Tom Clark's 6M podcast. Go like the page, and then you can watch the video. And if you and I are not friends on the Facebook, you can send me a friend request. And if you don't see me or can't find me, hit Wrestling Rumors inbox, and I will accept your friend, or I will accept, or I'm sorry, I will look you up. How about that? And then you can follow me, and I will follow you back, and we'll be buddies. And Jane, aren't you in England also? I think you are, aren't you? Am I crazy? Maybe I'm not crazy. Well, maybe not about this. Who knows? So yeah, thank you for asking. By the way, I do appreciate that. Tom Clark 6M podcast. It's my new labor of love, and I dig it so much. We recorded a new episode last night about. Oh, I'm not going to tell you. You'll find out later. So I've got a backlog of episodes, man. We got episodes probably to get us all the way through January, or at least up into January. We're recording a new episode every week. So I'd like to move that up to 2. By the way, Jane, or anyone else watching and listening today, if there's a topic that you're passionate about, not just pro wrestling, if you have a favorite TV show, favorite movie, favorite character, favorite miniseries, hit me up on the inbox, man. Maybe I'll use you as a co-host. My co-host chair is a revolving chair. I don't have a permanent full-time co-host. So I just switch it out with whoever would like to do a show. Be sure you got the chops. Be sure you can talk. Be sure you know what you're talking about. You got something to bring the conversation. Jane, why did I think you were in England? Crazy. I got viewers from across the pond, and for some reason I had you confused with one of those folks. My bad. I'm in North Carolina, actually, Jane. So, yes, you've got that wackadoodle governor down there. Good luck to you. So, not to get political, but yikes. Anyway, maybe now she won't want to be my friend. I don't know. Carla says, who are the members of Retribution? I can only guess a few. All right, so Dijak is one, and what's her name? That's the Reckoning. It's terrible. I can't remember her name. Now, see, I'm going to be like, oh my God, well, how come I can't remember her name? What is her name? I've never been high on her work. I think I've shared that here on the show before. It was never anything personal. I've just never been a huge fan. Yeah, it'll come to me. Someone give me that name. Let's see. What do you think of the Fiend destroying? Well, we kind of talked about that, Will. I mean, so here's my take on this. Is the Fiend babyface? He sure doesn't seem to be. Is he heel? He sure doesn't seem to be. What about the Hurt Business? What about Retribution? As I said before, WWE with this no crowd stuff is experimenting. And when some pro wrestling companies experiment, the end result can be pretty fun. So sometimes, though, when WWE does it, it's not so fun. Stay tuned if you want to. If you're interested enough to follow it, it's pretty much all I can tell you. Stay tuned and see what they do with it. So, thank you, Jane. Mia Yim. Thank you, Christopher. Jamel hit me also. Thank you, guys. Yikes, I blanked on the name. Chad says, does it matter what their names are? No, Chad, it matters that the storyline is crap. That the whole angle is hot garbage. That's what matters. It's just fun to make fun of the names. The names are an insult to the intelligence because we know who these people are. That's the insult. They throw masks on and expect us not to know who they are. Meanwhile, the workers themselves have changed their names on Twitter, on social media and stuff. That's the insult. And there's no explanation. The insult is that WWE wants us to believe that this faction, if you want to call it that, wants to take down the company. They tweet it all the time. I hate these people. I hate this company. But yet they sign with Raw. And they put their names on contracts. Well, might as well take money for it. What? Hot garbage. Listen, if it's your bag, go with God. I don't like my intelligence insulted, which is exactly what it is. That's how I call it, man. That's how I call it. Yes, Timothy. Yes, you're totally right. And I can't remember his name. So, yeah. Like I said, man, I'll give you my opinion, my immediate analysis, and then I'll always tell you on everything basically we talk about here on the show. Let's wait and see how it goes, see how it turns out. And now it's on to everyone's favorite segment of the show. This is the segment I like to call Make It Stop. Actually, it's Please Make It Stop. I have to fix that. This segment is Please Make It Stop. And most of the time it's on WWE. It doesn't have to be. Ooh. But this time it is. Because Elias, not the talent. Don't misunderstand me. The gimmick, the concert, the guitar, hot garbage. Hot garbage. It's okay to disagree with me. I got news for you. It's perfectly fine. You're not going to hurt my feelings. We don't have to become mortal enemies. You don't have to not send me a Christmas card this year. Perfectly fine. We can have our own opinions. It's hot garbage, brother. I hate this. And by the way, if you're going to get on stage and pantomime doing a song, if you're going to lip sync, if you're going to pretend to play instruments and that kind of nonsense, if you're going to do that, at least put someone on stage that actually knows how to play. Because I got news for you fine folks out there in Facebook land. The bass player can't play bass. All right. You see that? Wrong side. I do that every time. See this? This is my bass. I know how to play bass. That character on stage has no clue what he's doing. Go back and watch that silly little video and just watch him. It's actually debatable if the guitarist knows how to actually play. Because maybe. The drummer seems to be okay, maybe. But I'm like, what did you do? Go to like the Gap and hire models to come in and play? What are you doing? It's freaking terrible, man. I mean, and again, I say to you, I get it. I've said this before. It's just pro wrestling. It's silly pro wrestling. And it's just one silly gimmick after another, not just in that company, but in all the companies, right? And we'll get into a silly gimmick in AEW here shortly. And I totally understand. But at the same time, if you're going to do something, make an effort. Make the freaking effort. There's no effort made. It was beyond bizarre and beyond silly. I just didn't care anything about it at all. So I got people agreeing with me. So, and again, folks, if you agree, sweet. If you don't agree, sweet. It's definitely okay with me. Chad says if it's hot garbage, then Vince will never stop it. Chad, from your lips to the ears of God, my friend. You better believe it. Jane says, why is SmackDown FS1 tonight? I would assume it has something to do with baseball, maybe. And I'm sorry I don't have an answer for you because I really don't have an answer for you. We're going to get into Hell in a Cell, Isaiah. We're going to do a quick rundown of it. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time on it, but we are going to get to it. You remind me of something that I didn't queue up. Oh, actually, I always do the show prep for the show, usually about 10 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes I'll do it the night before. But today I kind of had a late start. So there we go. You only got 4 matches signed for the show. So you guys want to go ahead and talk about it? Let's do a quick Hell in a Cell thing here. You've only got 4 matches signed. We just talked about Elias. Jeff Hardy versus Elias, singles match. Bailey versus Sasha Banks, Hell in a Cell match for WWE SmackDown Women's Championship. Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton, Hell in a Cell match for WWE Championship. Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman versus Jey Uso, Hell in a Cell I Quit match for the WWE Universal Championship. There's your Hell in a Cell card, kids. Not much happening. So, silly. Thanks, Chris. I thought it was baseball. The Victor says, I'm buying a CD for you, Tom. Merry Christmas. If the goal is to get me to burn it live on the show, I'll do it. Elias feels reminiscent of Jeff Jarrett, the whole ain't I great debacle. Yeah. Okay. No. Jeff, they turned Jeff Hardy around, put the guitar in his hand as if he's actually playing, which didn't work either. So there you go. Let's see. Tim says, Hurt Business, Fiend and Bliss, Roman. I love lots of the new storylines. As your wrestling promotion started, what series moved to FS1? Tim. So if any of you have watched the show or listened to the show for a while, you know that I am the director of social media for High Velocity Wrestling. It's a promotion that we were running here in North Carolina, mostly in the Hendersonville, Asheville area of North Carolina. We streamed a couple of shows. We ran 2 huge events, January and February. And then do the math, folks. Guess what happened in March? We all got locked down. And we were actually heading to an event in March. It was going to be our 3rd big event. We got locked down. So we have not run a show since then. We've been talking about it. We've been trying to make plans behind the scenes. It seems like every time we try to plan something, it gets shut down again. So we want to do it right. And some of our colleagues in the local pro wrestling business are running shows regardless. And I don't know if they're taking all the proper precautions. If they are, go with God. That's great. But in HVW, we want to be sure that everyone's safe, happy, and healthy. And certainly we don't want to be the center of a lawsuit because someone got deathly sick. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it's a serious deal out there, folks. I mean, you got to be very careful. So the answer is, if you're interested in HVW, please go like the High Velocity Wrestling page. It's the purple logo. When you see the black and purple logo, there's a few out there from the years past, but when you see the black and purple logo, you know you've got the right page. And I was having so much fun. It was a blast, but yeah, I miss it. I'm going to be honest with you. James says, thoughts on Otis wrestling on Raw as a mass luchador, even though he was drafted. Listen, James, as far as the draft goes, the draft is 2 words, hot garbage. It doesn't matter because they don't care about it. They've never cared about it. They say they do, but then they cross the lines. The talent crosses and jumps ship and appears and all that crap basically all the time. So if they don't care about it, it makes it tough for any of us to care about it too. Ray's got to get his Adam Cole plug in. Why is Pat McAfee back? I'm going to puke. Well, we're going to get to the AEW NXT room, ratings. There it is here shortly. We can go ahead and talk about this. Pat McAfee comes back, gives the assist to Danny Burch and Only Lorcan to become the new NXT Tag Team Champions. This Undisputed Era thing is all over the map, Ray, for real. At first, it seems like maybe Adam Cole and Roderick Strong are going to stay heel. Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish going to turn face. Then you had that weird match a couple weeks ago with O'Reilly challenging Balor for the championship, and they had that segment backstage where Cole was just sitting like a statue in the corner, wasn't smiling or anything. That was weird. So it's like, wait a minute, maybe Fish and Adam Cole will stay heel and Strong and O'Reilly. It's all kinds of messed up. Let's just call it for what it is, kids. Anytime you have a heel stable, fans are just waiting to see what happens and how it's going to break up. Almost from day one. From the first day the Inner Circle got together in AEW, one of the first things that I saw written about it was, wonder how this is going to break up. I'm like, they just started. Relax, get over it. You know what I mean? Not that that's any of you cats out there. I'm just saying it's the desire to see it fall before it even really gets started is very odd to me. I have a hard time understanding why that's the case. So bizarre to me, man. James says there's no GMs either of the drafts. Thank God there's no GMs. Thank you, God in heaven, because she's blessed us with absolutely no GMs. Hot garbage. Jamel says, I love heel faction. I do too. So that's what I'm saying. Just if done properly and it's a good fashion that's getting the job done and doing some good business, leave it alone, right? Here's your ratings, folks. This week, SmackDown hit a 1.987 compared to last week's 2.087 million. This week's Raw, 1.77 million, down from 1.86 million last week. Not terrible by any stretch. That's your WWE SmackDown Raw ratings last week compared to this one. We'll see what happens on SmackDown tonight and how the show does in the ratings. Let's jump now back to AEW. Jericho and MJF take the stage. What is the Debonair? Is that what they called it? This is sure to get some comments going. What did you guys think of the song and dance number by MJF and Chris Jericho? Hit me with your thoughts. Ray says you're the Yoda of wrestling. Drink coffee I am. Or drink coffee I will. Is that right? Brad says that was a joke, talking about the Chris Jericho MJF thing. Listen, I've enjoyed AEW for what it is. I don't enjoy AEW as, guess what? We found what's going to overthrow WWE. I've never said that. I've never proclaimed to believe that. I never believe that. They're an alternative. That's what they are. And if you like them, cool. If you don't like them, cool. Whatever. Go find what you like, right? If you like Vince, watch him. That's cool. So when I saw this segment, I just said, it's silly pro wrestling. I don't care about this. This is doing nothing for me. If I'm being honest with you, it did nothing for me. I would rather have that have been in the ring and badly choreographed, and then the whole thing break down. Them go, listen, we've been over these dance steps a lot. You're doing it wrong. You're ruining the whole thing. And they start bickering. Now that would have been fun. That would have made more sense. Do you know what I mean? But to have it produced and they're suddenly up and singing in a restaurant, come on. But I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. It is what it is. Like the WWE stuff, when they do goofball stuff like that, I always say the same thing. That's WWE. How are you going to get mad? Why are you going to get mad at that? That's what they do. Life goes on, kids. It'll be fine. I say that about WWE all the time. Don't get too hung up on it. Don't get too hung up on this thing with MJF and Jericho. You can if you want to. It's totally fine. Timothy says that was so terrible. Same with Jericho. There you go. Jamel says, first time I fast forwarded AEW. Wow, that's saying something. Carlos says the raw steak was great. That was actually pretty cool. And Jericho says, I want it blue. I've never heard that said before, by the way. How'd you like your steak prepared, sir? I'd like to have it blue, please. Bobby says, I thought it was stupid also. Let's see. Where'd you go? Shannon with a different take. I loved it. Only MJF and Jericho could pull it off. The second half of your comment is very, very apropos and very, very logical and very right. They're the only two that could have done this in that company, bar none, period. They're it. They did pull it off. Should it have happened? Do you see what I'm saying? They made it. Just listen. Just judge it as a segment. Don't judge it as a pro wrestling segment. Judge it as a segment. It came off without a hitch. It was great. But if you put it in the confines and the context of a pro wrestling show, maybe not so great. Separate it if you can. You see what I'm saying? But I agree with you. They're the only two that could have done it. Shane says, hot garbage. MJF and Jericho, I thought, what am I watching? Boy, everyone was saying that on social media. Will, you're late. Will, you get one demerit. You missed a whole bunch of show, man. You have to go back and watch this thing after we're done. You can see the topic there on the stage. On the stage, there it is on the screen. Jericho and MJF take the stage. Jim says it was silly if WWE did something like that. Fans would bash them. And I'm not disagreeing with you. You're completely right. And listen, if you want to bash AEW for this, go with God. I completely understand why. And yeah, go ahead. Perfectly fine with me. You're not going to hurt my feelings at all. And I'm not going to defend. I got nothing to defend. I don't think that kind of stuff has a place on pro wrestling show, but this is the same company that features Orange Cassidy. No disrespect. I'm just stating it. This is not the typical pro wrestling presentation. This is the alternative to what WWE does. I'm not defending that segment. I'm not. I'm just stating a fact. That segment is a WB runoff. Sorry, that was horrible. A lot of people are agreeing with you. I respect your opinion. Carlos says MJF may take over later on. Jericho gets a lot of people believe he's going to take it over. I could see that. Tom says Tom Clark next week will do better. So here's the deal. Timothy raises a good point. Anytime AEW has sort of dropped the ball on something, maybe the segment was weak, maybe it didn't go the way they wanted it. Usually the next week they make up for it. They kind of make you forget about it. Now here's the deal. I would suspect that Chris and MJF both enjoyed this and thought it looked great. So it's not like the bit about the Dark Order where the guys throwing weak punches that aren't connecting, and the next week they kind of had to make it up and cover it. I don't think that's what's happening here. I think they both think that this thing went great. To your point, right? So why would they try to change it next week? Shannon says, can we talk about how awesome Pentagon? Yeah. They're fantastic, aren't they, Shannon? But here's my deal. Here's my deal with both of them. Again, I want the talents to be safe in the ring because it's unnerving to see them take such incredibly stupid risks. I mean, Phoenix took some stupid risks, landed on his head. You can tell that he was hurt. Hopefully he's okay. I don't have the latest on that. Hopefully he's fine, but stupid risks, stupid moves that don't, constantly the top rope, constantly flipping. I mean, at some point you're going to get hurt. The best talents in the world who flip-flop and fly every single night are going to get hurt eventually. It happens. It's part of the game. So do I need it in my wrestling matches? No. Do I like some of it? Sure. Why not? But at the same time, moderation is key, kids. But there's no moderation when it comes to Pentagon and Phoenix. Everyone knows that, right? I did enjoy the match. I'm not going to lie. I did enjoy it. Shane says, love the build up to Omega and Paige. Yeah, I agree with that. James says, news-wise, I heard this week that Del Rio's trial date. I don't know, James. That's an issue for the court to decide if he'll serve time. I don't know. I comment on it, but I don't really. I'm not following it. If I'm being honest with you, if he's in the wrong, if he's guilty, then he should be punished. Absolutely. I mean, I say that and think that about everybody. If you do the crime, what's the saying? Do the crime, do the time, right? Shannon says that's what worries me about Darby Allin. He needs to slow down. 100% agree. The body bag on the skate ramp, was that necessary? I don't know. Speaking of AEW, what did you think about the return of the cleaner gimmick? Kenny Omega. Return of the cleaner. This is the same gimmick that he ran in New Japan as the leader of the Bullet Club. Cocky, arrogant, a jerk, sarcastic, the whole nine. Immediately tried to shake Sonny Kiss's hand, immediately tried to help him up, immediately hugged him. He's a jerk now. See what I'm saying? He's going back to that gimmick, that reputation, that character. I wrote a column about it, actually published it early this morning on Wrestling Rumors. Go check it out. I mean, I would assume, as most of us assume, that this is going to be in an effort to take him back or take him to the AEW Championship, World Championship. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I like the idea of Kenny finally getting something in this company. We all knew it was going to happen eventually, but I'm sure we all thought it was going to happen long before now. But I'm sure that's by his choice also, right? So, we'll see what happens. I'll be interested to see where it goes from here. Will he beat Jon Moxley? I think the next person to beat Jon Moxley is going to be a big name, and I think it's probably going to be Omega. I can't swear to that because I don't have any backstage info for you, but that's just my take. I would put it on, if you're going to take it off of him, which I don't think you need to because he's doing fantastic, and we'll get to that in a second. If you're going to take it off of him, put it on Omega because it would be the next logical move. Shannon says, this is the Kenny Omega that I love. There you go. James asked about thoughts on Lana being buried. Listen, she's not going anywhere until her contract's up. And even then, they could probably talk her into coming back. She got a 9-day no-compete clause. She's not going anywhere, James, till that comes to a head. When it does, it does. We'll see what happens. I don't really have thoughts on her being buried every week. She knows what she signed up for. If you work for Vince McMahon, you should know what you're signing up for. There's a possibility they're going to tank your career. I just call it like I see it. They'll throw the blame back on you and say it's your fault, but we all know if you're not put into a position to succeed, you may not succeed. Tell me I'm wrong. Jamel says she signed a deal earlier this year, and actually, I believe you're probably right. So there you go. Tim says, I hate to ask this question again, but is the bald guy on Raw, don't know his name, is he the GM on WWE? What was AEW rating? I already gave, well, we got the ratings coming up, don't we? We got the ratings coming up. I haven't given them yet, have I? It's coming up. It's coming up. Hold tight. Hold tight. No, there's no GM on GM. No, there's no. The only GM that I know of is Regal on NXT, right? Joe says, who's next during the Hoyt business? The Hoyt business. Boy, that'd be fun. Like a 1930s gangster gimmick. We are the Hoyt business. You're going to get Hoyt. That's great stuff. It's like the Bugs Bunny villains, right? Sometimes I entertain myself, kids. I'm not even kidding. I mean, Titus O'Neil tried, and they said, okay, and then they jumped him. That was weird. So, yeah, we'll see. Let's talk a little bit about Moxley and Kingston Part 2. We touched on it last week. The match is now an I Quit match. If you watched their promos on Dynamite this past Wednesday night, you saw some super good stuff because both these guys are completely on their game every single time. Kingston is a breath of fresh air in any company he walks into, especially in AEW. He doesn't really have a superstar body. He doesn't have a main event superstar look. I don't know that he needs either one of them in AEW, to be honest with you. I don't know that he needs either one of them, period. Because he gets it done in between the ropes and he gets it done on the mic. Sure as the world. I'd love to interview this guy sometime and just, open mic and no filter on this guy. That's what I love. You know what I mean? He's he speaks his mind. He speaks his truth, as they say. And I dig it, man. I respect him, and I respect the heck out of Moxley also. And this is going to be a fun feud. I think this is the top feud in AEW, and it should be. And it's really good stuff, man. Their war of words. Like I said, if you're not watching their promos, man, you're missing out. It's really, really fun stuff. Jamil says both promos were awesome. I look forward to this match. Yes, absolutely. Ray Dean says Eddie Kingston is a microphone genius. Yes, he's a microphone fiend. Yep, there you go. Brad Hall says it's going to be a knockdown drag out match. Oh, for sure. There's going to be buckets of blood, Brad. Buckets of blood just in time for Halloween. Actually, the show's on November 7th. Is that right? November 7th? November 4th? 4th? 7th? 4th? 4th. Let's check the calendar, kids. La, 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 la. November 7th. There it is. So, Ray says, I hope Orange gets the brakes beat off of him. Then you jump in and super kick him. You talking about me jumping? Oh, first of all, Ray, I don't think I get my leg that high, if I'm being honest with you. Second, I'm not employed by the fine folks of AEW. Tony Khan's not blowing my phone up. If he did, I would totally answer. Shane says to me that Kingston's better as a manager mouthpiece. I agree with that. He's a great mouthpiece. Do you see Finn Balor being called up for the new? No, Joe, I don't. Leave him where he's at. They called him up once before, and look how that went. Through no fault of his own, might I add. Nah, leave him where he's at. Shannon says 2 of the best talkers in the company. Absolutely right. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. All right, let's get to the ratings before we open the floor. This week, AEW, 826,000, up from last week's 753,000. Let's see, NXT this week. Actually, I may have gotten that wrong. Did I update the Raw? Maybe I got it backwards. Actually, I think I've gotten that backwards. Don't let me tell you wrong here, kids. Hold on. I don't want to tell you. Oh, there it is. I don't want to tell you wrong. So this week, yep, I did get that wrong. Let me correct that as we're sitting here, shall we? I suspect I missed this one. My apologies. So last week was 826,000 for AEW. This week was backwards, actually, 753. Last week, NXT. Oh, I know what you're thinking. I can't see. No worries. Be patient. All right. And there it is. There we are. My bad. This week, AEW, 753,000 compared to last week's 826. NXT, 644,000 compared to last week's 651. Both shows down. AEW down more, quite a bit more than NXT. New shows took all the ratings this past Wednesday. That's the scuttlebutt. So, hey, my apologies for not having that ready, man. Usually I've got that ready. I am so sorry about that. So there you go, kids. Yes, Christopher, the cleaner is back. We have covered that already. Absolutely. All right, folks, guess what's getting ready to happen up in here? Up in here, it's the open floor. This is your chance to hit me with whatever you want to ask and or talk about. And let's get your questions, comments, and words of wisdom rolling, shall we? What do you have to say? And it doesn't have to necessarily be pro wrestling related. If you got something else you want to hit me with, man, I am all ears. All ears. Let's kick this sucker off. Shannon says, new show killed both ratings. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Shannon says, I think NXT had a better show this week because Sheeta and Timothy Thatcher drove NXT. I agree with that. I wasn't crazy about this episode, Dynamite, if I'm being totally honest with you. I didn't hate it. I just wasn't crazy about it. I did like the main event. I love Moxley and Kingston off the charts as always. I like the return of Kenny Omega's gimmick. So, do you think FTR will lose to the Bucks? I don't think that match is going to happen right now. I think they're trying to save it. Shannon, you're making me smile. I think they're trying to save it for a live crowd bigger than what they have. But I could totally be wrong on that. But and here's the thing: people tell me, how come they're not facing each other yet? Give it time, kids. Give it time. Why rush this? We get mad at WWE for rushing stuff. So just take your time with this. I tell you who they should be rushing right to the top. That's Cameron Grimes. To the moon. I love doing that because I love me some Cameron Grimes. Shut up. I got to talk to that guy. I'm not even joking. Love that guy. Thank you for that. You teed it up, and I don't know if I knocked it in the trees or not, but hopefully went straight down the fairway. Mark says, anybody going as the Fiend for Halloween? Man, that's a fun costume, huh? That's a good question. Who's next for Randy Orton? Will he beat Drew? I don't think you take the belt off Drew right now, Joe. My opinion. Maybe they will. We'll see. I think it's too early for that. I think it's too early to take it off Mox as well. Orange Cassidy versus Cody next week. Yes, sir, Tim. We'll see what goes down in that match for the TNT Championship. So there we go. Raheem. So you're talking about Eric B. and Raheem, right? Hey, man, I'm old school rap guy. I was listening to, oh, God, who was I with? Tone Loc the other day. And I was listening to Wu-Tang Clan last week. And my kid knows what curse words are. My kid is really into hip hop. And if you're into hip hop in 2020, you know what curse words are. I mean, to be fair, that's in a lot of music. I'm not trying to stereotype here or anything, but he loves hip hop. So I just tell him, listen, I know you're listening to some of this stuff, and I've talked to him about what it means, some of the words he's hearing. And I was like, look, you're going to hear stuff. It doesn't mean you have to repeat it. So when I let him listen to Wu-Tang, I try to find the censored versions on iTunes so he can listen. See what I'm saying? Because I dig that old stuff, man. I mean, I'm an old Run DMC guy as well. Public Enemy, love Public Enemy, man. So who was I listening to this morning? I'm going to have to go back on my library and tell you. Because now that you've asked me, it's got me. It's driving me crazy because I can't remember. This moment of silence brought to you by Tom Clark's Main Event. I was actually listening to Sharon Jones and the Dat Kings. Do any of you guys like Sharon Jones and the Dat Kings? If you like bluesy, soulful, jazzy kind of music, you got to listen to the late Sharon Jones and the Dat Kings. She's fantastic. So good. So good. Let's see. In fact, I added the album to Apple Music this morning. I believe I did anyway, if I can find it. EPMD, that's what I was listening to. Old school rap, baby. Sorry it took me so long. Welcome back to the show. All right. Ray says, your thoughts on Jay White's performance through the G1? Fantastic. Jay White's the best heel in New Japan. Jay White may be the best heel in the industry today. Call it like I see it. He's utterly fantastic. And Brad, if you follow his career right now, you know how good he is. Jay White is phenomenal. I love that guy to death. I love his look. I love his gimmick. I love his mic work. I love his character. He's such a complete obnoxious jerk. I love him. I can't say enough good things. He's so metal. Jay White is so metal. I think he's getting ready to get kicked out of the Bullet Club. And they're going to hand the whole thing to Evil. That's my prediction. I could be wrong. We'll see what happens. Banks and Bailey will take the pay-per-view. They're both awesome. Tim, it's probably going to be a very, very good match. Frost says, what do you think of rumors of Undertaker returning? Yeah, I've heard the same thing, dude. I don't need to see Undertaker again in a ring. All due respect, I don't need to see it. But he will probably do it. I don't need to see him or Cena back. Cena, okay, but Taker, come on, man. The ship has sailed, in my opinion. And if he comes back, I won't crap on him. I won't. I don't think I have before. It's just, as a fan, as the writer, as a podcasting guy, do I need to? Tom, do you need to Undertaker in 2020? Nah, I don't. But you know what? If he wants to do it, if he's healthy, if he feels good, if he can be safe in the ring, come out of it okay, go with God. Victor says Daga has been released by Impact this week, so him and Tess are free agents. Maybe that's what she was waiting for. Cherie says, sorry, I watched World Series game instead of AEW or NXT, which is a great game. Man, if you're into baseball, have fun. I've just never been into baseball, for sure. Will we see Sheeta versus Britt Baker? Yes, I believe so. Robbie says, with you writing for so many wrestling websites, if you were asked to write a full biography for any wrestling legend currently living, or who would you want to spend time with? All right, who I would love to have spent time with was Dusty. And by the way, I'm only writing for one site now, Robbie, if I'm being honest with you. I did have a full plate in terms of being a full-time writer, and I've backed off way off of that part of my life. It's still there. I still love to write. And by the way, thank you for the question. But I don't know. I've got a lot of other stuff going on now, a lot of other responsibilities. And in order to have the time to devote to it full-time like I was in the past, I'd need to free up some space somewhere, which maybe would not be the easiest thing in the world. But my quick answer would be Dusty, if I'm being honest. But that ship has sailed. Unfortunately, he's passed. So that would have been my answer. Shannon says, Britt will be our next women's champion. Mark my words. I agree with that. Joe says, will The Miz turn on Morrison? I would not be surprised. I don't have a yes or no, but I would not be surprised. You like Cameron Grimes? Can you guess? Love Wu-Tang. There you go, Ray. Good job. Jamel says, I had my 16-year-old listen to Nas. Yeah, man, you got to school them sometimes. You know what's funny, Jamel, is I'll have my kid listen to old school rap, and he'll just go, I'm like, what? He'll go, I don't like it. That's the face I make. Now, he does like Wu-Tang Clan. I'm not going to lie. It's his speed. It's his style, right? But for the most part, he'll let me listen to the new school stuff, and I'm like, son, this is garbage. No, it's not. I'm like, dude, I know what good. I like to think God, this is going to sound weird coming from the white guy in the room, but I know what good rap is because I've heard a bunch of good rap. What I hear today, I don't dig it, man, at all. That's personal taste, personal preference, man. If you like the new school stuff, go with God. I don't know. Yeah. Shane says, listen to Upchurch, Southern country rap. No, thank you, Shane. I am not a country music guy. Timothy says, time for a title change. You're talking about the women's championship? I agree with that. Where do you think Tessa Blanchard is going to go, Cherie says? I think she ends up in WWE, my opinion. Brad says, Tone Loc, Funky Cole Medina. Yes, I was listening to that the other day, actually. Let's see. Someone just said Eric Sermon. Not familiar with Eric Sermon, if I'm being honest with you. I heard that Seth is getting tired of the storyline with Ray's son. Boy, aren't we all, Tim? Aren't we all? Let's see. Mark says, I think I'm going to go to YouTube, on YouTube, look up the video. There you go. Victor says, Halloween Havoc looking good. Can't wait to see it. Yeah, should be interesting to see. Interested in that a lot more than I am Hell in a Cell, if I'm being honest. Let's see. Troy says Keith Lee's apparently recording lyrics for a new song. That's cool. About time. It's about time. Maybe the song he can rap about how the main roster screwed up his career. Hey, I'm not poking fun. I'm just calling like I see it. He's so good, and he's not being portrayed that way. Will says today is mumble, no talent, cheap. Artists can think of their own stage names. Yeah. It's a different vibe out there on rap today, man, for sure. People tuning in right now is like, what's he talking about? Will Keith Lee just leave WWE or be a jobber? The jobbing part's up to WWE, not him. And I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. DJ Jazz Jeff and the Fresh Prince, my favorite party rap. Mark, I'll agree with that. Oh, brother Shane, you want to talk about some SRV? Let's talk about some SRV. Holler at your boy. I love Stevie Ray. You kidding me? I've been listening to a lot of Hendrix lately, too. Love Jimmy. Rap went downhill after Tupac and Biggie died. Noah, truth be told, my kid right now, his wardrobe consists mostly of Tupac and Biggie T-shirts. I'm not even joking. That's how much of a fan he is. I'm so proud of my kid when it comes to that stuff, man. My kid doesn't see color. I'm proud of that. It's gonna make me tear up. I'm proud of my kid, man. He doesn't learn that crap in his house. Me and his mom don't see color either. So he's learning from us, but he couldn't be mean to any other race if he wanted to be. He wouldn't know how to be, because to him, they're not races. They're just people. So I'm very proud of my son. I'm not even kidding. Victor, language, language. KRS-One, Victor going real old school. Yes, sir. Make it happen. Isn't Eric Sermon a country artist? Tell me if he is, guys. Because, brother, if he is, your boy ain't going to listen. Because I'm not about the country music. Country music can stay away from me. Christopher Wilson. Thank you, my friend. Outcast. Are you kidding me? Fun stuff. Fun stuff. Oh, I love Outcast, man. Sheree says, I love the old school rap from the 80s. We're talking about music. You know, my bosses at wrestling rooms are going to be like, what are you doing over there? Stop doing that. Old school rap from the 80s. The new stuff, just straight up junk. Give me some Run DMC. Yeah, there you go. Cool mode. Beastie Boys. Love Beastie Boys. All right. So let's do one more. Hit me with a pro wrestling related question so we can end on a podcast appropriate note. Okay, you know what? Now that you mention him along with Redman's name, it does sound familiar. All right, I'm going to look it up as soon as I get off here. I promise you. I'm going to look it up. You may be turning me on to something that I'm not into. Maybe I'll get into it. Troy, you're the man, brother. Thank you for that. All right, so you didn't ask me, but here's my answer. If I had to choose between Method Man and Redman, I choose Method Man. I love his delivery. I love that voice. Some guys are born to be rappers. Method Man, Chuck D, born to be rappers. Tupac, born to be a rapper. Those voices, man. Jay-Z, born to be a rapper. The voices, the cadence, the sound. Where you instantly know. Snoop Dogg, born to be a rapper. You just instantly know who they are. Very memorable voice. Rick says, when is Halloween Havoc? Well, bye, Crackle. Let's look that up because I'm not sure. This bit of musical nonsense brought to you by Tom Clark's Main Event. October 28th, right on top of old Halloween as it is. There you go, kids. Shane says R-Truth can't rap. Bite your tongue clean out of your head. Are you kidding me? Come on, man. Leave Truth alone. You kidding me? Oh, wait. Did you say can rap? Who says can? All right. Maybe I just, Shane, I may have just bagged on you for no reason. My apologies. I could have sworn to say can't rap. He's the man. I love R-Truth. Will Seth go for Roman? Christopher, I got a better question for you. Why'd they even put him on the same show? Why'd that even happen? Are you kidding me? Ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. I mean, keep them away from each other. Seth's been this huge big-time heel. Roman's the biggest heel they got right now. Leave them apart. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. No, I don't think he'll go after him. METHOD, man. METHOD, man. Are you waiting for that, right? That's great stuff. All right. Well, now that we've spent a sufficient amount of time talking about music, let's hit a couple pro wrestling things before we get out here. How cool would it be if at the pay-per-view, the Four Horsemen music hit in Charlotte? Tez came out with your pickup to other women's wrestlers. The pay-per-view, the Four Horsemen music hit in Charlotte. On Charlotte and Tess, they came out. I don't know. I guess because they own the music, right? I think they do. They should. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm okay, I guess. Oh, Ray, I know all about Chub Rock. Treat him right. I told you I'm an old school wrestling fan. Don't even play. Oh, Mark, let me tell you something, brother. Tom Clark's 6M podcast. Get ready, kids. Movies, music, Marvel, magazines, miniseries, and more. Is that 6? Movies, music, Marvel, magazines, miniseries, and more. That's 6. That's the 6M podcast. Yes, we discuss music. We've done a deep dive on Led Zeppelin 4. We've done a deep dive on GNR's Appetite for Destruction. We've got a lot of episodes in the can just about music. So yes, if you want to check out that show, please do so. It's free. Go follow me on. Go follow the Facebook page, man. You'll see the latest. Best heel in wrestling at the moment: Jay White, New Japan. Not even close. Thank you, Mark. All right, guys. Listen, I'm getting ready to get out of here. So here's what's going to happen next. All right, for all of you watching right now, watching live. As soon as I sign off on Wrestling Rumors, go to my Facebook page. And if we're not Facebook friends for some odd reason, go to the Facebook page entitled Tom Clark's 6M Podcast. Okay? There's only one. Go to it and hang out for just a couple of minutes. I'm going to be there. All right? As soon as I sign off here, I'll click over and I'm going to give you the episode reveal for episode 11, which drops next Tuesday. So please, if you're interested, go check it out. I assure you, you're going to dig it. Hopefully you dig it. Hopefully you're subscribing and downloading the show. It's time for us to get out of here in the meantime. So thanks again to everybody for watching as always. All right.